vision for Freewire is developing ultra-fast charging without heavy infrastructure upgrades. The problem that we see in the industry today is as we move from slow to fast to ultra-fast charging, you need more and more utility infrastructure to enable those charging speeds. But utilities aren't keeping pace. And we don't believe that they're going to be able to deploy enough infrastructure in the long run to enable ultra-fast charging everywhere. So we've developed a technology solution that pairs energy storage, batteries, with power electronics so that we can deploy ultra-fast charging anywhere and everywhere without infrastructure upgrades. We expect a very rapid acceleration of the markets, and we've started to see it in Europe already. If you look at the Swedish, Norway, Nordic markets, the adoption has been incredible. We see over 90% adoption of electric vehicles in certain markets. But one larger market that's gone and moves quickly is the UK. Electric vehicles are going to be the de facto standard by 2025. You cannot buy a combustion vehicle anymore by 2030. And we're starting to see development of charging infrastructure at scale. So companies like BP have gone and deployed infrastructure at a significant portion of their gas stations, but there's still a long way to go. Now, we see other markets opening up pretty quickly. Germany being the next largest market to move forward into electric vehicles. Last month, in August of 2021, you saw 21.7% of new vehicles built in Germany be electric. And that's a turning point for the industry. And now we need the charging infrastructure to enable all those vehicles to get on the road and start moving.
So I think there's a couple big challenges. One is the global leadership. Countries around the world are focused on decarbonization. And they've determined that electric vehicles are the solution. And so we need to be prepared for that. We need to start evolving the business model to see how we can support our customers if they decide to buy an electric vehicle, because there's going to be a lot more electric vehicles in the market's going to grow, and there's an opportunity there if we take advantage of it. The other thing is we're dealing with is the governments in the world have said they don't want petroleum at all. And so we're not drilling as much, we're not producing as much oil, which means we have short supply, which has caused recent price increases. So now we're going to be dealing with that situation. So you've got an increasing commodity base that the governments want to get rid of. You've got an emerging market that we need to figure out how to service, but we also have to figure out how to service our customers today. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We need to figure out a way to decarbonize effectively and cost effectively. The governments don't seem to want to hear that. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. The market's changing, we have to move with it, but we're getting some mixed messages from the government, and that's very challenging. But I think this industry is resilient. It is probably the most resilient industry we've ever seen, and they're going to be able to pivot. They'll be able to figure out how to do this. The economics on charging doesn't work right now. Long term, it will. It'll all pencil out. We'll figure this out. But it really is going to take some dedication and some due diligence to really figure out what we need to do, who we need to be when we grow up. Always focus on how do we support our customers. We can say we don't want to go electric, but you know what? If your customers go electric, you got to go with them. And if we pay attention to that, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape.
It's a really interesting time right now. We're seeing a shift to a lot of electric vehicles. We're also seeing cars become more fuel efficient. So the gallons over the next 30 years are probably going to decline, and the research really shows that. So now is a great time for retailers to really use fuel to reinvest in your business. Can you drive profitability on the fuel side of your business to start to invest in the EV chargers, or start to put money back into your shop and really use fuel as a vehicle to future-proof your business as it starts to change in this time. So the way we help retailers really is through visibility to the data that matters, right? So as they're pricing their fuel, how do they compete more effectively? There's been a ton of market consolidation, there's aggressive competition, and it's actually becoming challenging to make profit on their fuel. And what we help our retailers really do is dive into the data around their volume, their weighted blended average, so that as they compete with these growing partners, how can they make more money on fuel so that they can reinvest that back into their business?
Yeah, so in terms of what we offer today and where we want to go, we're very excited to be able to offer many solutions to consumers and how they pay for fuel. Through the pandemic, it became even more obvious to us that touchless, contactless type payments were of import. And so we're able to now allow consumers to use Google Pay and Apple Pay right at the pump by using the cameras on their phone. We also have our ExxonMobil Rewards Plus app, which allows consumers a safe, secure way to pay right from the comfort of their vehicle. We expect to see acceleration as consumers continue to be concerned about security, safety, and just the general convenience when they go about their everyday lives. And we're here to make consumers' lives easier when they fuel with us.
Hygiene has been incredibly important. We've seen that post-COVID, customers really care about the safety, and cleanliness is their perception of safety. What I found very interesting, we did a study looking at Google reviews across multiple countries in Europe, and we looked at why did a customer give a 5-star rating or why did they give a 1-star rating. And it was very interesting that cleanliness, which they associate with safety, popped up on the top 3 every time. And I think that now with COVID, customers care about what is when they're touching the handle and grabbing it, what's their experience like? Or do they feel safe enough to go inside? So I believe that safety has become a huge part after COVID, and cleanliness is the look of safety, so hygiene is very important. So in the US, it was interesting. At first, it started with customers not really coming back to the sites. They're more nervous about coming back, and as they've come back, their standards have gone even higher. We've seen over the last couple of years, food service is incredibly important, and in Europe, I think they do it better. The food service is really great. The US standards are starting to get there, and the customers' expectations are going up as those standards go up. So that's, I think, the biggest difference I've seen in the US is increasing standards and expectations.
Yeah, so one of the things that's just been happening, and it's not a sea change, but it's just been happening, is everybody's been waiting for the autonomous car to come so that we can connect to it and interact with it. You can't buy a car today that doesn't have an option for you to have voice recognition and interactivity between you and the car. Hey, Google, how do I get to my girlfriend's house from here? So there's interactivity that's going on. So this brings up something. If people are in the street and we see that vehicle miles traveled is going to keep going up, if people are driving around more and more and more, they're now making more and more decisions while they're behind the wheel. It can be dangerous on its own, but now that voice search is here, the question is, if my mission now is I want to get to the doctor's office, but I need to pick up a sandwich and a Coke and fill up my car on the way, it's a complex search that the search engines have been able to parse now. So I can say, I'm on my way to my doctor's office, but I really need to get gas, a sandwich, and a Coke. And the search engine is going to come back and find the best location that serves that need. Hopefully one stop. The next iteration of that is going to be, by the way, do you want to buy it? Do you want to order it? Yes. Now it's waiting for you. Do you want to pay for it? Voice payment is coming. So I could say that. So now what I'm doing is instead of using my mobile device or using a keyboard or going to a store, I'm now using my voice to shop from my dashboard. I call it dashboard commerce. That's my term. And it really is leveraging our locational excellence because I'm on the way somewhere, but we need to partner up with the search engines and the OEMs, the manufacturers, to make sure that we're present, that you can find us first, know what's in our store, and then order it for curbside and then pay for it. And that is all coming. That's all coming very, very quickly.